Welcome to the Eclectic Thrifter and Crafter, where we thrift and craft with purpose. Well, it's been a busy couple of weeks in the garden and in the garage. I'm going to begin our garden walk today with how I use an antique reamer. I found this beautiful amethyst reamer for $5. I use the coffee grounds in the garden. My husband prefers these pods once in a while, as well as using them for company. This year I decided to save them and use them for seed planting. It's been very stormy and there haven't been that many super sunny days, so work on the little house has been delayed off and on, so I did get a lot of details done for the inside. So on the least rainy days, I went out and weeded the garden this last week. It takes about 4 days to go all around the house. A lot of it is basically rearranging some of the plants that I allow to grow so they are really strong before I transplant them into their permanent homes. And that's what I was doing here with the foxgloves. I do love a lot of violets in my garden, but they can go rogue, and they decided to grow into the legs of my roses. That lanium did the same, and I'm going to transplant that as well. We had to replace boards on our raised beds this year. They've been there for about 12 years, and it was time, so that's something that we did, which took a little bit of time while the seeds were in the greenhouse. In the last couple of years, we've had a few weeks of very, very bitter winters, so we did lose some plants. The garden bench right there, we're going to rebuild this summer. That's going to be a summer project. This clematis I lost. I think I'm going to have to pull it out. My husband left it because he's hopeful and I'm not quite so confident. I love the lanium. I divided it and made a border around the garden. These are the geraniums that we keep under the fountain. The bees love those. And the hummingbirds love the fountain. We got the corn back in the garden. It's down at the bottom under the lilac tree. And all the weeding was done. There weren't a lot of weeds. Once you get a good start on your garden, you can really keep it well controlled as far as weeds go. So it doesn't take me a long time to get the weeding done. I have caladium in that bare spot right there. It hasn't come up yet because you plant it when the last chance of frost has passed. I planted a second variegated caladium behind the bird bath under the caramel tree. I have plans to make 4 more of these little houses for the front garden this summer, and possibly a little cathedral. I already have the wood stonework for the foundations made. I lost a rose in this corner. I'm going to replace that with a hydrangea maybe next month. This beautiful snowball bush is officially 42 years old. We've had it for 12 years. I dug the whole root system up 12 years ago in a garden that was being demolished. It had been cut to the ground, and I brought it root and all from a town 35 miles away. As you can see, the hops have a good start. I cleaned out the strawberry bed yesterday. The bed under this hawthorn tree is where I plant the patty pan squash, and I'll complete that on Tuesday. And we'll swing around here into the garden. Most of the perennials in this garden are from rescued plants or are from seeds that I've collected from friends. I completed weeding and planting most of the garden last evening before the rain started. And it's all done. My allium has wandered around the garden a bit. I only lost 2 roses. And here's our garden. The new addition this year, along with the new boards, was a frame for pole beans. So I'm very happy about that. I've been wanting to do that for some time. And this is a little bed for baby lavender. We lost nearly all of the lavender, but underneath the dead bushes were all the little babies. So I saved about 3 dozen of them. In addition, I saved about 6 that I had in a holding bed from last year and was able to replace the ones I lost in the rose garden without having to purchase any from the store. I tend to save seedlings and seeds. That's just something that I've done for years. All along the back near the roses, between the roses, I planted squash. I try to make use of all of the empty space in the garden, and I don't mind mixing my vegetables with my flowers. The squash blossoms are really a wonderful treat, stuffed with ricotta cheese and fried. They are wonderful. My mother was Italian, so that's where that comes from. Those are the leeks that I have remaining to plant, and nasturtiums. This is my little herb bed. I have to replace a few of those. My little multiplier onions I think those are bunching onions actually. I keep those in the garden because they help keep the pests away. I still have to weed around this tree. This is where corn and sunflowers are going to go. And I have to finish weeding this section here. This is all squash and Big Mac pumpkins for my son. He loves those. And the rhubarb's doing very well. I just have to sift some of the tops of the weeds from the soil. I have to make a new sifter this year. Get some of those rocks out of there. I just cut the tops off of the weeds here. My son's going to turn the soil and we'll get the roots next Thursday. I've lived here in northern Idaho all my life. Where I grew up near the lake in town, certain plants like peonies bloom 2 weeks ahead of where I live now because we are at a higher altitude. We usually have a barbecue for friends at the end of June every year when the roses bloom and the peonies will be in full bloom then. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. Please like and subscribe and share my thrifting and crafting channel with your thrifting and crafting friends. I welcome your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. Check us out on Instagram and tap that notification button for upcoming announcements of thrifts and crafts. But most of all, have a lovely, lovely day.